1, the state insect of North Carolina is the European honeybee. 2, beehive survival is based solely off the livelihood of the queen, the only fertile female who continues to create more worker bees to keep the hive thriving. 3, from 1929 to 1974, the state of North Carolina used eugenics as a philosophical reasoning in which to sterilize young, poverty-stricken women without their knowledge, thousands of which are still alive today. It was the spring of '67, I remember. I had just got my young wings around the idea of being a new mother. 8-month-old nectar hanging around your abdomen changes the way you fly. And that was a quick one. The eyes made of honey and proboscis just as sweet. Could talk a man out of his car, his clothes, his money if need be. Could talk myself into a fight just the same. See, bees round my garden were a bit more aggressive than most, but we made it. Yeah, me and my baby. I recall the pain, the agony of him swatting at me as he started to crown. This king within me destined for a throne, coming into life faster than honey could hold. They got me to the hospital and they put me in this room, and that's all I remember. Awakening to jaundiced bandages across a blackened body. Not a scream or bzz, just a counting backwards in a dizzying unconsciousness. I bet you they blew smoke in my room just to calm me down. Keep me sedated to the 5 keepers behind the one-way glass and the manila folder that told them that my species was too primitive to evolve. The change was not a learned behavior, but something I would never get. So they tied and burned these tube-like antennas so I could never speak the name of another, a black and yellow hush. When an insect screams, it sounds like a pin drop against the mahogany of a conference table. I bet you they didn't even know my name. Didn't know no Elaine Riddick. Mistook me for a drone, a follower, a never gonna stay in the hive kind of straggler. Figured one day I'd cause a swarm of ignorance, the shade of poverty that a whitewashed honeycomb could contain. They didn't know that a man would see past these 6 legs and hairy appendages want to marry me. That he'd make our bed on the petals of a dandelion, cloak us in the morning dew and awaken to an empty belly by the time our wings dried. How was I supposed to tell him that I never knew I was an imposter? That all my life I've been told I was something more special than I was? They took something from me, something that was God-given and innate and natural, something no amount of compensation can replace. Tell me, how do you give someone back their inheritance while their dreams lay sticky and spilled on the floor of an operating room? Tell me, oh state who boasts my beauty, how do you explain to your children why the trees carry no blossoms, why the grass carries no blade, why the cabinets are barren of honey when my bees could have filled 1,000,000 jars by now? Tell me, how do you explain the clipping of 7,600 of our wings while your pollen-dusted hands hold on to apologies like an offering of flowers would make us more civiled or settled or right-standing in naivest of the Carolinas? Don't you know women secrete beeswax loud enough to clog up history and bzzz louder than the writing of a check, especially when we're denounced from our thrones without even knowing it?